Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Inconsequential Runner. We have with us Coach Mark. Hello, Coach Mark.
Hi, Darcy. Yeah, looking forward to the curly questions you're going to ask me.
You know how this works, Coach Mark. Yeah, we've got a couple of curly questions for you. We do one per video. For those of you joining us for the first time, we do one per video. We keep it short. We keep it sharp. If you subscribe or if you hit like, it keeps you in the loop with the other videos. One subject per video. Coach Mark, let's start with this one for you today. And it was something I was actually thinking about on an easy run towards the end of it, hour and a half easy run, found I was hunching over, and just even thinking about just straightening myself up, making myself taller made a massive difference. So the question I think would be best to ask you, that would be the best benefit for everybody watching this video, is what are the most significant issues in running form that you think we need to be conscious of that will help us with our running? What do we need to look for, and how would we fix them? What do you think, Coach Mark?
Yeah, it's a good question, that actually, and it's something we've got to be quite careful playing around with our technique too much. It's always tempting to do that, but we need to bear in mind that our body has a particular. So we all have a unique way of running, which is why you can always spot someone a runner that you can spot from miles away. Everyone has their own little style, and the body works out an efficient way that it can to move forward. So if we change things too drastically, that can throw that balance out and can cause quite bad problems. So often I would give the advice of, unless someone's actually injured, don't play around too much with your technique. But again, having said that, there's little things that we can do within our technique that can help. And that was interesting. The first one you mentioned was you felt that you were hunching forward, because that is the key one, I find. People hunch forward. They run as if they're sitting in a bucket. Is often talked about. So as if their bum is sticking out, shoulders forward, and what that does, obviously, it shortens your stop, it shortens your stride. So you're not getting full range of your legs there. Shoulders hunch forward. You're not getting a full breath of air in. You also, you just hold yourself in that posture, and you feel quite depressed and negative. You hold yourself nice and taut, you automatically feel better. So that in itself is one thing. So that's the first thing.
You're absolutely
The
right
other
on
thing
that,
is,
because I was listening to some music, and when I was hunched over and the song changed and it was a more powerful song, and I felt myself straighten up, and I felt the power sort of come from it. My whole mindset changed as well. And instead of suffering the run, it was a case of bring that suffering on. Let's go. I can get through this. So okay, that's a good first point. And
I'm sure you've seen people just running around the bays, and you see someone who is hunched forward, you think, oh, they look like they're doing it hard. And then you see someone who runs quite tall, they go, oh, they look light on their feet. It's just that little change there. So that's the main one. Another one is that overstriding. So that's something that we can correct a little bit, little corrections there, and that causes problems because we're inefficient with our running, and it's jarring on our joints. So that's.
So just quickly, what's overstriding? Is that where the leg is coming right in front of the body? You're sort of reaching with the leg, or what's your definition of overstriding?
Yes, it's when the foot lands significantly forward of the hips. That's overstriding. So what happens there? If you think about it, you're moving forward, and if your heel strikes the ground forward of the body, you've got this jarring impact going straight up your body,
right?
Straight up your leg. So that's that's not good in itself. And so that's in terms of injury. But then in terms of inefficiency, before you can actually propel yourself forward, you've then got to drag your hip over your foot, so then you can push forward. So if you think of that in slow motion, the foot goes down, then the hip's got to go forward, and then you got to push forward.
Yeah.
Okay. And So overstriding and punching are the two main ones. And then in the middle, inefficiencies with the arms are the other one, which we did a whole video on that.
We did.
A little.
We did. So, okay. What's the takeaway from this? Is the takeaway, while you're running, every so often check in on yourself, and you only need to check in on two key things. There might be others, but the main two things are, am I hunched, or can I straighten up and be much taller? And is my foot landing under my body, or am I overstriding? Is that it, Coach Mark? Is that the couple of things we can have in our mind, or?
Yep. I find really helpful the analogy of someone sitting on a unicycle. So using someone sits on a unicycle and they want to propel it forward and they don't want to fall off. What do? They sit really tall. They tilts forward from the wheel, so not from the hips. So it tilts forward slightly from the wheel, and then you just pedal like mad. And you go forward. You bear that in mind when you're running, and
that is brilliant.
Things will fall into place.
I haven't heard you say that before, but that resonates. Oh, the staying tall, leaning forward from the wheel, so from the ankles, not from the hip. Your foot is at its lowest point, right under your body, not reaching up in front. That's perfect. That's perfect.
I often actually find if I just first tell someone to run tall, and I tell them, imagine they got a helium balloon attached to their head, and often everything else falls into place. So if you attack that first, everything else seems to fall into place. The stride length actually falls into place as well, and people don't tend to overstride as much. You can use this as well, which again we've talked about in the past. If you're in a race and things are getting tough, you have maybe 2 to 3 technique, little pointers, and you just focus on that one issue. To a landmark, there might be a tree way in the distance. You go, okay, till I get to that tree, I'm going to imagine I've got a helium balloon attached to my head. That's all I'm going to think about.
Perfect.
That might take you 2 minutes to get to that tree. That's 2 minutes you're not thinking negatively about, how you're feeling or how far there is to go or why that person seems to be pulling away from me.
Yeah. Look, as runners, we always want something else to think about.
Switch it to your arm. Yeah.
I've got so good
at
understanding.
I sometimes say I might have a kilometre to go. I say, okay, well, a kilometre, that's 4 technique pointers. I'll just, 1 minute on each. There's my kilometre gone. And and if you're thinking about those little technique things, you're not thinking, you're thinking about your running form. So you're going to be running as well as you can at that moment. So that's another positive. You're taking your mind off it, focusing on your technique.
Perfect.
I approach the other thing as well. I mean, I imagine I'm peering over a fence, as I'm running. So you're sort of trying to look over, or there might be a tree in the distance. You imagine you're trying to look over the top of the tree, and that stops you looking down. You're again running tall. Little tricks like that. It's amazing how powerful they can be, and you can choose something that resonates with you.
I love that. I think that's the best point to close on. After everything you've offered, and thank you, Coach Mark, there's a couple of things there, and just choose, as a runner, just choose a couple of those things and just adopt them in your next run. Check in, see how you're going. Are you nice and tall? Are you not overstriding? Is the foot landing under your hip? Are you on a unicycle? Are you peering over the fence? That's brilliant. Couple of things for us to take away there. Thanks so much, Coach Mark. And to everybody else, look, thanks for watching. You know that we're making quite a few episodes of this series of checking in with Coach Mark and picking your brains, Coach Mark, for some information. So look, if you click subscribe, you'll be alerted to other videos as they pop up in New Zealand time every Monday and every Thursday. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. See you later, crew. Thank you, Coach Mark.
Cheers, Darcy. See you later, everyone.